Morning, students. We were studying chapter number 4, electoral politics. In this chapter, now we come to a topic that is acceptance of election outcome. That how can the election outcomes be accepted? One final test of the free and fairness of election has in the outcome itself. If elections are not free or fair, the outcomes always favors the powerful. Obviously, if the elections are not conducted in free or fair manner, then the person who is able and capable to make the government loses elections. In such a situation, the ruling parties do not lose elections. What happens here? The powerful one, the powerful person wins the elections. Usually, the losing party does not accept the outcome of the rigid election. Obviously, the party who is able but has lost the elections cannot accept the outcome. The outcomes of India's election speaks for itself. Means you can think or you can see what is the manner of election, that how the elections are they conducted in a free and fair manner. Their outcomes can say the name. The ruling parties routinely lose elections in India both at the national and state level. What is the reason behind it? The reason behind it is that the elections are not conducted in free and fair manner. In fact, in every two out of the three elections held in the last 25 years, the ruling party loses. So, this is the main reason that the elections are not conducted in a free and fair manner. In the US, an incumbent or sitting elected representative rarely loses an election. Now, what happens in the US, United States, that an incumbent or sitting elected representative rarely loses an election. They do not lose the election. In India, about half of the sitting MPs or MLAs lose elections because here elections are not conducted in a free and fair manner. Candidates who are known to have spent a lot of money on buying votes and those with known criminal connections often lose elections. Those candidates who have spent a lot of money to buy the votes of the people and those who have connections with the criminals, they often lose elections. Bearing very few disputed elections, the electoral outcomes are usually accepted as people's verdict by the defeated party. Now, what happens? Where a few disputed elections, where much of disputes are happened, the electoral outcomes, that whatever outcome come of the elections, this is accepted by the defeated party, by the losing party, as the people's verdict, that people have chosen the representative and he is correct. So, as a people's verdict, as people's choice, this outcome is accepted by the losing party. So this was the acceptance of elections outcomes. Now we come to the next topic, that is challenges to free and fair elections. Now, what are the different challenges which are to these free and fair elections? Now, what happens here? That all this leads to a simple conclusion: elections in India are basically in free and fair. The party that wins an election and forms government does so because people have chosen it over its rival. Obviously, a person is elected as a representative only if people has chosen him. This may not be true for every constituency. A few candidates may win purely on the basis of money, power, and fairness, but it is not for all. Okay, many times or in many constituencies, what happens? The person wins just because he has spent a lot of money and he has done use a unfair means. Okay, but the overall verdict of a general election still reflects popular preference. Okay, but if you talk about a general state, if you are talking about a general election, then it reflects the popular experience, that it is the people's choice. So here these there are some challenges which are to the free and fair elections. Okay, now all this lead to a simple conclusion that elections in India are basically free and fair the party that wins an election forms government does to have people because people have chosen it over its rivals. As I firstly also said that elections, if you're talking about general in India, then the elections are conducted in a free and fair manner and people have chosen them. Can an ordinary citizen hope to win elections? Questions of this kind bring the many limitations and challenges of India's election to our attention. Can an ordinary citizen, now if you ask a question to yourself, that can an ordinary citizen, an ordinary man, can win elections? This question brings you the limitations of an Indian elections, that what are some limits and what are some challenges of Indian elections. Now one by one we are going to see these challenges. Candidates and parties with a lot of money may not be sure of their victory, but they do enjoy a big and unfair advantage over smaller parties and independents. Okay, the person who are investing a lot of money in buying the votes may not get victory. Okay, may not get victory that they can win, but they can enjoy an unfair or a big advantage over the smaller parties or the independents. Independence means those people who are free. In some parts of the country, candidates with criminal connection have been able to push others out of the electoral race and to secure a ticket from major parties. Now, what happens? A person who has criminal connection means a candidate which is having criminal connection, okay, is able to push others out of the electoral race. Means they throw them out of the electoral race from the elections and they secure a ticket from the major parties. Some families tend to dominate political parties. Tickets are distributed to relatives from these families. Now, what happens? In this, there is domination also. Okay, political parties, what they do? They give tickets to their family members, to their relatives. Very often, elections offer little choice to ordinary citizens, for both the major parties are quite similar to each other, both in policies and practice. Now, what happened? That very often elections offer a little choice to ordinary citizens. Means here is the answer of the question that can an ordinary citizen hope to win elections? So here is an answer that very often elections offer little choice to ordinary citizens because both the major parties are similar to each other in policies and practice, because the policies also are the same and the practice is also the same. Smaller parties and independent candidates suffer a huge disadvantage compared to bigger parties. Now, those parties which are smaller, which are independent candidates, they suffer a huge disadvantage compared to the bigger parties, because bigger parties have money also and they have everything also. So, these are some challenges. These challenges exist not just in India but also in many established democracies. These deeper issues are a matter of concern for those who believe in democracy. Means people who believe in democracy, that democracy is of the people, for the people and by the people. It is a matter of concern that elections should be conducted in a free and a fair manner. That is why citizens, social activists and organizations have been demanding reforms in our electoral system. So where it is very important to reform the electoral system. Can you think of some frameworks? What can an ordinary citizen do to face these challenges? So here some question arises that what can an ordinary citizen do to face these challenges? Can you suggest some reforms of it? So that's all for today. This is all with the chapter. Okay. There comes the exercises. These are some keywords, that is code of conduct, constituency, incumbent, level, playing field, raging, turnout. Okay, and here are some questions which you have to solve by your own. If you have any problem regarding to the exercise, you can ask me. Thank you.